it going, everyone? I am Buddy the Bruiser, and I just got back from seeing my most anticipated film of 2019, and it's only January. And that, of course, is Dragon Ball Super Broly, the comeback, the return, one of the most iconic characters in all of Dragon Ball history. For the first time, he is canon, and he is back and better than ever. This is going to be a spoiler-free review. Our spoiler review is going to be up on our next episode of our Super Saiyan Gotcast, which you can see right here once it's out. But as for this review, there's no spoilers, so you don't have anything to worry about. And I'm just gonna say right off the bat, go see this film. Go see it in theaters. See it on the biggest screen that you can possibly see it. This is truly a cinematic marvel. Okay, I need to relax. I need to relax. Namaste, namaste. I'm sorry, I was just so excited about this movie. So as I said, today we're taking a spoiler-free look at Dragon Ball Super Broly. This is the third film in recent memory. First, obviously, we had the comeback with Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, and then we had Resurrection F, which was the reintroduction to the Frieza character. And now we're at Dragon Ball Super Broly. Broly himself is a fan favorite among the Dragon Ball fans. Of course, we had 3 films back in the 90s starring Broly. We had the first one, Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, Broly the Second Coming, and the unspeakably awful Bio Broly. But this is the first time the Broly character is in the main storyline. He is officially canon. He is brought to us by Akira Toriyama. He didn't just design the characters, he came up with the whole story of this. And this movie isn't just about Broly. We were also getting some insight all the way back to when Frieza came to power, Vegeta's earliest roots, and Goku's earliest roots in this timeline. There are a few retcons that go along with this, obviously. This isn't going with the classic backstory of Goku that we all knew about. It's going off of the Dragon Ball Minus manga. That was a retcon from Toriyama. It came out way later. And a lot of fans had mixed feelings about this, but it is what it is. This is Toriyama's vision of the story, so this is what we have to go with from now on. So whether we like it or not, this is what it is. The first 20 or 30 minutes of this film are all story and backstory of how we got to where we are today. As I mentioned, it's the backstory of all of our major characters. We see Bardock, the father of Goku. We see for the first time ever in the series Gine, who is Goku's mother. We saw her in the Dragon Ball Minus manga, but this is the first time we've ever seen her on screen. And as I said, a lot of people were not fans of the Dragon Ball Minus story, but I have to say, in this context, it was handled very, very well. And the reason a lot of people don't really like it is because A, it retcons a lot of Goku's past, and it completely redoes Bardock's character, who was another fan favorite who had his own 2 specials back in the day. And it does completely change his character in some aspects, but he still has that essence of Bardock that we know and love. And one part of the particular towards the end of his arc in this film, you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I just think it was handled very, very well for what it was. Me personally, I miss the old Bardock, but I love this new Bardock as well. And again, it is more Toriyama-esque. Because as he said, he loved the original Bardock special, but it was way too dark for him, and it's not something he would ever write. So this, I think, is more in tone with everything that's going on now. And the next portion of the film is setting up Broly and setting up our main characters and ultimately their epic battle. It should come as no surprise that half of this movie is fighting, but it may surprise you that the first half of the movie is actually very narrative driven. This film, I think, is the most complete Dragon Ball movie we have gotten up to this point from a narrative perspective. We're getting a lot of backstory, we're getting a lot of character development from the characters that we're being reintroduced to or the characters we haven't seen yet. There are a lot of original characters in this film, and although their screen time may be more brief compared to our main cast, I think all the new characters are actually pretty good and funny and likable. And now that you mentioned, Broly is actually a really sympathetic and likable character in this, and that's really surprising to say if you're familiar with how the old Broly was. Again, we're gonna go more in depth on the podcast, and I don't want to give anything away here, so just take my word for it. You are going to care about Broly, you're going to care about Bardock, you're going to care about Gine. All of these characters you really develop an emotional connection to in not a lot of time. We all have the emotional connection to Goku and Vegeta and all of our other friends, but these new characters that they're reintroducing in this film, we really care about them. And there is honestly some really tear-jerking moments in this film. I am not going to lie, I did get a little teary-eyed, but it's just how invested I was in all of this. If you've seen any of the trailers for this film, you know that the visuals are absolutely breathtaking. The animation style is something we haven't seen on screen in Dragon Ball ever. This is the best animation that we've ever seen, bar none, in any of the films, series, anything. From a production standard, this has to be the most well-made of all the Dragon Ball films. The hand-drawn animation is spectacular. There are some moments of CG that aren't as good, but when it is good, it blends in really well. But when it's not as good, sometimes it's very noticeable and weird looking. But that's the style that they were going for. I can't really complain about it because it is well done for the most part, but for me personally, I would have rather it been all hand-drawn. The music in this film is very subtle when it needs to be, and it's very epic and powerful when it needs to be. We hear the classic Chala Head Chala theme, but it's way in the background, so we're still getting that glimpse of nostalgia, but we still have time for a lot of new music that comes in, and this film really is a masterwork, not only with the visuals, but with the audio as well. We also see some new techniques from Goku in this that we've never seen before, and we'll elaborate more on that later, but it was really interesting, and there were some techniques and forms of Goku that we didn't see in this that we have seen in Dragon Ball Super. So we don't really know what's going on with that. I'm not revealing anything if you've seen the trailers or the marketing for this, that Gogeta is in the film. All of us have been looking forward to this for a long time. There's tons of Easter eggs in this film as well, not only calling back to the old Broly films, but also going back to Fusion Reborn and some various other Easter eggs along the way, and even a reference to GT, we think. But we're not completely sure yet. We have to see where it goes from here. It should go without saying, but the voice acting from the American cast is obviously great. Sean Schemmel, Chris Sabat, everyone is doing a fantastic job in this. And the humor and writing is also very good. The whole crowd was laughing, and even my fiance, who is not a Dragon Ball fan, was laughing at some of these jokes. Because as Toriyama says, he was a comedy writer first, and the action just happened along the way. So the comedy really shines through in this, and I'm happy that comedy is still part of the series. The film is the longest by far of any of the Dragon Ball films. Most of them are barely over an hour, if that. Although this was a very long film for Dragon Ball standards, I do think that there were some areas that were quite rushed in this, and with that there were also areas that I think dragged a little bit too much. I wish we would have got to see a little bit more of Bardock, and I wish we would have got to see a little bit less of Broly's backstory, actually. Not that what we got was bad, but just for me personally, I would have liked to see a little bit more time taken in some of these areas. And honestly, the fight, although well done, I think they could have broke it up a little bit better and added more character into the fighting, because once we get in the fighting, for the most part, that's what it is, except we take a little break here and there. But for the most part, the second half of this movie is our battle. But overall, the ending of the film I thought was perfect. I can't wait where they go next with this. And I only pray that when they bring back the anime, they do not remake this story at all. Just keep it what it is. Start right from the ending of this film, because with Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, they remade it into the anime. And so for this, I hope that they just keep going forward. Don't look back. Do not remake it. So yeah, those are all of my thoughts basically for this spoiler-free review. It's a very emotional film. It's very nostalgic, but still keeps everything fresh and new and gives us a new interpretation of everything. And like I said, from a narrative standpoint, beginning, middle, and end, this might be the strongest of all the Dragon Ball films. I don't know if it's the best film in the series, but I do know it's the best laid out, structured film in the series. I don't know, I need to see it again. I need to see it again. It might be the best in the series. I don't know, it's tough. It's definitely in the upper echelon. I do not know if it's the best, but it is close. It takes everything we love about the original and adds to it, and it's going to lead to even more great Dragon Ball stuff in the future. It just sucks because now there's barely anything I'm looking forward to in 2019. We got it out of the way right in January, but hopefully we get some more updates soon, and I might go see it again in theaters today. It's definitely worth buying on Blu-ray when it comes out. Watch it on the biggest screen imaginable. Hit up your friends with those big screen TVs, bring it over, watch it. You guys will not regret it. If you are a Dragon Ball fan, this film is a must watch. Even if you're not a Dragon Ball fan, I say give this film a chance. Maybe this will make you go back and rewatch some of the stuff if you were a fan when you were a kid, or even if you're just getting into it now. I think this could be a good introduction into the series because you're getting these backstories of these characters. Like I said, I love it. I think it's great. I give it 4 stars, A+. It's just overall excellent, and I look forward to what Jared has to say. We will be talking about it this weekend on our podcast. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, share it with a friend, go check out our podcast, and stay tuned for much more Dragon Ball related content from me and Jared in the future. And that is about all I have to say. You guys have a great day, take care, and we'll see you next time.